Chris Reddick Financial Planning. In this blog post, I talk about how do you transition financially out of a teaching career. So we know, for example, in Texas, that most teachers are underpaid compared to their peers in other state public institutions. Okay, so we know the pay is less, and the workload is very high as well. So it leads to a lot of burnout and stress, and many teachers actually leave the profession, and then they want to succeed financially after their teaching career. So they might start into teaching, they realize that it's just not there, the pay is just not there, the workload is like really high, and they're intrinsically motivated, they really like helping people, but it doesn't look like it's in the future for them. So how do you transition out financially from teaching? Okay, so one thing to look at is your pension. So you have to decide what to do with your TRS pension if you live in Texas, or another pension. So you can roll it over typically into an IRA. So you might do that if you hadn't worked there so many years to actually get the retirement annuity, or you could just wait and then collect the annuity when you retire from your other job, so you can have that lifetime monthly income. So that's a really important decision. So it's something you should talk to with a financial planner about in order to make the right choice. So a pension can be really great, right? Lifetime income is great, but if it's a small amount, and rolling it into an IRA might also be an option. So the second thing to think about is budgeting. So what I mean by this is you need to develop a budget, because if you go from one career to the next, there's going to be a transition period where your salary may be, maybe less than what you had before, or it could be more than you had before. So you have to budget and make sure you're spending within your means, not creating additional debt. So listing your monthly expenses either on a spreadsheet or some sort of budgeting app, and there's tons of budgeting apps out there. Just have an idea of where your money goes on a monthly basis in order to keep track of things so you're really successful in your next career. The next thing to think about is number 3 is 401k plans. So when you're a teacher, you typically get a pension, at least in the public institutions. When you go to the private sector, you get what's called a 401k plan. All right, and this is where you decide how much you want to contribute towards it, and then you get a match from your employer, but not always. So sometimes you get a match, sometimes you don't, and then you get all these different choices of mutual funds to invest in order to reach your retirement goals. So here, unlike a pension, you have to actually make these decisions on how much to put in your 401k plan, what are the different investments you should choose from. So talking again to a financial planner on this aspect will really help you maximize your 401k plan. And then a fourth thing is higher income challenges. I know this may sound kind of not a challenge, but if your income skyrockets, so say you're a teacher and then you're making a much lower income, and then you work in the private sector and you're making a much higher income, you have to be able to adjust to that higher salaries. So making sure that you're not creating additional debt, like trying to live within your means as well. So it's kind of related to the budgeting. So thinking about how to spend the additional money the best you can. For example, save for college if you have children, or maximize retirement savings, create an emergency fund, and then so forth. So that goes in the 5th point, is having an emergency fund. So what is an emergency fund? It's 3 to 6 months of living expenses within a bank that is used only for emergencies. So the only purpose of an emergency fund is to use it for emergencies. It's not for going on vacations or doing stuff like that, right? So if the car breaks down, that could be considered an emergency. So you use the money in the emergency fund, and then you replenish it right away. And you always keep a balance of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So I hope you found this useful. These are 5 different things to think about when you transition from a career from teaching going into the private sector or nonprofit or government. Okay, so hope you find this useful. Reach out if I can be of service.